Some people bite off more than they can chew, but they're no match for the biggest, baddest biters in the natural world. We're counting down the top 10 most extreme biters in the animal kingdom and comparing them to your dentist's worst nightmares. Stand by for the tooth, the whole tooth, and nothing but the tooth when biting's taken to the most extreme.
Earth is a planet of extremes. Extreme places and extreme animals. But some animals are more extreme than others. Join us as we count down to find the most unusual and the most extraordinary on Animal Planet's The Most Extreme.
Flying in to number 10 is an animal that really gets under your skin. Meet the mosquito, the smallest and deadliest creature in the countdown. You can't escape from this flying bloodhound because it tracks us down by following the most minute traces of carbon dioxide from our breath. The mosquito is the mother of all biters because it's only the female that uses her amazing proboscis to suck our blood. It's human blood that nourishes mosquito eggs. So that's why the female has the most complicated biting apparatus in the countdown. It's a combination of Swiss Army knife, hypodermic needle, and vacuum cleaner. But once she's tapped into a blood vessel, our problems have only just begun. For traveling in her saliva are some deadly hitchhikers. And that's why the mosquito's number 10 in the countdown. Her bite can be lethal. But it took us a while to make the connection. 100 years ago, the scourge of the American military was yellow fever, or yellow jack. An army doctor thought the disease was spread by mosquitoes. But to prove it, he needed some human guinea pigs.
We've come to volunteer.
Do you men know the risk?
Yes, sir.
Gentlemen, I salute you.
Sure enough, once the volunteers were bitten, they picked up the parasite transmitted by mosquito spit. But yellow jack is only one of the diseases spread by the mosquito's deadly bite. The queen of the killers is malaria. Even today, malaria spread by mosquitoes will kill 1 out of every 17 people on Earth. The mosquito may be deadly, but its bite barely scratches the surface of our extreme countdown. Coming up next is an animal so tough, it can chew through concrete. To find number 9 in the countdown, Oregon zookeeper Jay Haight has to pull out all the stops.
You can see him actually run through the opening here. Gotta give him time to climb. There he goes. Check him out by now, he ought to be coming down. And there he goes. Okay, there's only one way out now. Pop this open. And in he goes. We have one.
Meet the naked mole rat. It's a hairless rodent that spends its life beneath the plains of Africa building tunnels with its teeth. It's number 9 in the countdown because it needs a jaw-dropping massive muscle. The muscles on a human body make up nearly half our body weight. The biggest muscles are attached to our legs and arms. To chew our food, we move our jaw using only about 1% of our muscle mass. But imagine if we were like the naked mole rat. If we spent our lives tunneling with our teeth, our jaw muscles would make up a quarter of our muscle mass. These buck-toothed beauties are an orthodontist's nightmare. But naked mole rat moms don't lose any sleep over their offspring's overbite, unlike humans.
Don't good-looking teeth add a lot to Dorothy's smile? Doesn't Jerry look healthy and happy? And what about Eleanor? Yes, everyone is thinking about his teeth this morning. The nurse has come to talk about dental health. Not everyone has such healthy teeth. Look at Sam. Sam has never taken very good care of his teeth. Judy's teeth are not growing in right. She needs dental assistance too. Perhaps a set of braces like Tom's.
Today, Tom and Judy would join an estimated 5 million Americans of all ages that are braced for better teeth. But the only thing this naked mole rat's braced for is action. He's got concrete reasons for liking his teeth, just the way they are.
If I were to drop him right now, given enough time, he'd actually chew through the cement of the floor down here. So these chambers are specially constructed with acrylic, and then some steel mesh, and then some material known as hydrostone. And the object here is to keep them from chewing through the hydrostone into the steel mesh, because then you have a nightmare for chamber repair. As you can see, they're a little on the feisty side.
And a feisty mole rat will even bite the hand that feeds him.
A little bigger. Won't be the first time, won't be the last. Too far from my heart to kill me.
It's just another casualty to add to the list of people injured by the most extreme biters on the planet. We've seen mini miners and toothless terrors, but get ready to brush up on biters that scare us to death when they get right in your face. That's next on The Most Extreme. Slithering into our countdown of extreme biters is the snake. Every year, over 7,000 Americans have close encounters of the venomous kind, and on average, 15 of these will be fatal. We die because venomous snakes bite with teeth shaped like hypodermic needles. And in the Australian outback are the worst biters of all. Snakes are number 8 in the countdown because the bite of an inland taipan delivers enough potent venom to kill 500,000 mice, or 100 people. Even baby taipans are lethal. But even natural-born biters occasionally bite off more than they can chew. Luckily, bite-sized portions are not far away. Although only 10% of snakes are venomous, it pays to stay well clear of any animal that bites first and ask questions later. But at this extreme snake show in Thailand, one man bites back. But without venom, even our best bite can't match the horror of snake bite. Already we've been rattled by rattlers, munched by mole rats, and bled by bugs. But that's child's play compared to the deadliest game in the world. That's next on The Most Extreme. Sydney, Australia is home to the next contender in our countdown of extreme biters. Crawling in to number 7 is the funnel web spider. The funnel web strikes like lightning. Those enormous fangs inject paralyzing venom deep into their prey. And they're strong enough to drive through a lizard's skull. But their fearsome fangs are no use when it comes to eating. That's why funnel webs have a different way of digesting their dinner. Imagine if we ate like a funnel web spider. A pair of fangs would be great for killing food, but useless for chewing. So we'd have to make ourselves a little liquid lunch. Funnel webs throw up special enzymes that turn their meal into a soup that's simply sucked up. The problem is that funnel webs don't eat hamburgers and don't always stay out in the garden. The funnel web is one of the world's most dangerous spiders. It can sink its fangs through your fingernail and inject a poison that can be lethal, especially for children. In the last 80 years, over a dozen people have been killed by funnel webs. But at the Australian Reptile Park, some spiders are helping save lives. Mary Rayner has one of the most extreme jobs on Earth. She milks killer spiders. Funnel webs are so aggressive that when provoked, venom drips from their fangs. All you need is a steady hand and nerves of steel to suck up the poison into a glass straw. The venom then gets used in the manufacture of an antidote to the spider's deadly bite. At least the funnel web spider no longer has our fate in its fangs. Life on the plains of Africa is as hectic as any city sidewalk, but this crosswalk is patrolled by a cold-blooded killer. Jaywalkers don't stand a chance. The crocodile is number 6 in the countdown because those jaws slam shut like a steel trap. Powered by enormous muscles, the crocodile's bite strength has been estimated at 200 kilograms per square centimeter. That's more than 10 times stronger than the average human bite. That means all 60 cone-shaped teeth are driven into flesh with the force of a sledgehammer. Once a crocodile has its teeth in you, it's almost impossible to escape. A lineup of these massive jaws and teeth is a terrifying sight. For more than just fish are on the menu. Any living thing that enters the water is a potential meal. In waters around the world, each year crocodiles claim an estimated 2,000 lives. Crocs can hold their breath for up to an hour, which means they can swim right into the shallows in front of you. When a croc attacks, usually there's no warning. You'll never know what hit you. Crocs even fought in World War II. The British in Burma had the Japanese army surrounded on an island. 1,000 men tried to escape through croc-infested swamps. After the crocodiles attacked, only 20 made it out alive. Even today in Australia's Northern Territory, cunning crocs associate visitors with food. But these crocs have to dance for their dinner. With these extreme biters, it really does pay to keep your hands inside the vehicle at all times. Despite the crocodile's determination to get ahead, it's still only number 6 in the countdown. Because coming up are nightmare creatures who really do want to suck your blood. It'll be a real riot as we open the door on the world's most extreme biters. Next on The Most Extreme. no one's safe from the next contender in our countdown of extreme biters. Insatiable blood-sucking biters really do exist, which is why the vampire bat creeps in to number 5 in the countdown. Fall asleep in Central and South America, and you're instantly on the menu. The tricky part's getting the blood without waking the seal. That's why these extreme biters have a numbing anesthetic in their saliva. Wouldn't it be great to have the bat's pain-killing spit the next time you're at the dentist? The vampire doesn't have to worry about the dentist because it has fewer teeth than any other bat. Who needs to chew their food when there's a specially grooved tongue to lap up their bloody meal? The next day, there's little evidence that the bat's been feeding. If only Dracula was as subtle as a real vampire. But then Dracula's not the only human with a distinctive bite. Dentists can easily identify patients because our 32 teeth leave a bite that's as unique as a fingerprint. Forensic dentistry can catch criminals and identify bodies, and people have been polishing these skills for centuries. During the Revolutionary War, an American general by the name of Joseph Warren was killed at Bunker Hill. His body was buried in an unmarked grave. A year later, it was decided to dig him up for a proper burial. But the search for the dead general came to a dead end because no one could tell the various bodies apart. Finally, a Boston dentist identified the fallen hero by his distinctive dental work. The world's first forensic dentist had already galloped into the pages of history. For dentist Paul Revere is more famous for riding like a bat out of hell. Vampire bats are also famous because these extreme biters will sink their teeth into any large mammal. Of course, with their anesthetic spit, we never notice that bats find us finger-licking good. We love dogs. You can find a dog in more than 1/3 of all American homes. Today, in the United States alone, the dog population exceeds 50 million. But man's best friend has a dark side. Dogs are number 4 in the countdown because sometimes their bite is much, much worse than their bark. Each year, more than 4.7 million Americans are bitten by dogs. Domestic dogs are now found in so many homes that each year you've got a 1 in 50 chance of being bitten by a dog. And sometimes those bites can be deadly. In the United States alone, it's estimated dogs will kill 17 people. That's more deaths than from the bites of grizzlies, gators, and spiders combined. Dogs can be dangerous because when it comes to biting, they're not very different from their ancient ancestor, the wolf. They still have powerful jaws and teeth for tearing flesh and breaking bone. For some dogs, biting can be such a problem that worried owners take their pampered pooch to a doctor who's really gone to the dogs. At this practice in Manhattan Beach, California, dog bites are big business because Dr. David Nielsen is a veterinary dentist. Today's patient is being fitted with braces.
What's happening with this dog is that the top incisors are moving to the back, and so they're actually hitting on the lower incisors. And so when they hit on the lower incisors, they'll actually move them, and that will create an opening for infection, and what we're going to do is end up with a healthy mouth.
But David and his team don't just give dogs perfect smiles. He's found a way to take the bite out of some canine criminals.
The way we deal with dogs that have a bad reputation as a biter is obviously first we go through dog trainers, and if they actually basically call a class 5 would be a bite where you actually draw blood. And their rule of thumb is that if a dog is bitten that hard, they can't be trained to not bite. It's like asking a person to never get angry. I mean, it's impossible. And so what we do is actually we'll take off the canine right at about this level, halfway below the level of the incisors, because the way a dog bites is that canine tooth tears. And so you take the dog from being a biter into a pincher. But psychologically it changes them because they just all of a sudden are much more mellow. We've done this on a number of dogs and without problems afterwards, so it's kind of a neat way to save their lives.
Thanks to Dr. Nielsen, now even the most extreme biters can dream of being both man and woman's best friend.
Excellent dog, what a good day. Best dog. Best dog. Good dog. Excellent dog.
It seems incredible that anything has a more extreme bite than dangerous dogs, voracious vampires, and crushing crocodiles. But coming up is an animal with such a foul mouth, it can bowl over a buffalo. That's next on The Most Extreme. Falling in to number 3 in the countdown is the Komodo dragon. On remote islands of Indonesia, these giant lizards reign supreme. Komodo dragons are number 3 in the countdown because just one bite is all it takes to bring down an animal the size of a buffalo. Dragons have the world's worst halitosis. Inside its mouth, festering meat trapped in the Komodo's teeth turns its saliva into a bacterial broth. Just one bite is enough to cause a fatal infection. And then, it's feeding time. Komodo dragons have more than 60 teeth, and all of them are as sharp and serrated as steak knives. Its teeth are almost as deadly as the bacteria in its septic saliva. But then human mouths are also full of bacteria. The bacteria may not be deadly, but they do cause the most common disease in the world, tooth decay. Our teeth are under attack by billions of bacteria that grow in a layer called plaque. When we eat sugary foods, so do the bacteria. They turn the sugars to acids, and acids eat into tooth enamel. But our body can fight back. Our spit is full of minerals that replace the ones dissolved away by plaque acids. Each day you produce about a liter of saliva, which means in your lifetime, you make enough saliva to fill a swimming pool. That's 25,000 liters of spit. Komodo dragons are such efficient biters that they hardly ever strike out when they come up to bat. But even the Komodo's mighty mouth is no match for our next contender. In Kenya, this peaceful pond is home to the hippopotamus. They look so graceful that it's hard to imagine why hippos should be number 2 in the countdown. But making eye contact with a hippo could be the last thing you ever do. The hippopotamus is number 2 in the countdown because any trespasser will quickly learn that it's one murderous mammal. At the Honolulu Zoo, keeper Mary Rosolowicz knows exactly how dangerous hippos can be.
Hippos kill more people in the wild than any other animals, including like lions and tigers and bears, all the ones that you think are really dangerous. They're very territorial. They don't eat people, they just chew them up. They can open their jaw to 150 degrees, and the males have their lower canines get up to 20 inches long, and they're razor sharp, and they can kill each other with a single bite.
And it's this extreme bite that puts the hippo in at number 2 in the countdown. A male hippo has a mouth that opens more than a meter wide. But a big mouth comes in handy when it's time for a dental checkup. Not that hippos need much more than a quick fish floss. In fact, their teeth are so strong, they inspired the earliest dentists. There was a time when false teeth were crafted from hippo ivory. In fact, it was a hippopotamus that gave George Washington his ring of confidence. Porcelain teeth were an improvement, but they still didn't have the same shine as natural teeth. So, in 1942, they mixed in uranium to add a real glow, and to fill the mouth with more than 4 times the normal level of radiation. They stopped adding uranium in the 80s. To the relief of 32 million Americans whose teeth go out at night. And even though they're number 2 in our countdown of extreme biters, it will be a relief to most hippos that these days, their teeth don't end up in the mouth of a president. We've seen the 9 contenders. They're the best of the best. Only one animal is a more extreme biting machine. It's number 1, and it's coming up next on the Most Extreme. The most extreme biting animal in the countdown lives in the sea. But it's not what you expect. For when it comes to biting, what could be better than Jaws? Surely nothing could compete with the great white shark. The great white shark is a bloodthirsty biter that could easily be number 1 in the countdown. After all, it's always on the lookout for something to sink its teeth into. And they go through teeth like nothing on Earth. That's because the shark is constantly replacing old teeth with newer, sharper versions. Wouldn't it be nice if we weren't quite so attached to our teeth? All 32 adult teeth are firmly anchored in our jaws. Our teeth are meant to last us a lifetime, but then we don't put as much strain on our teeth as a shark. The average human bite strength is only about 21 kilograms per square centimeter. Compare that to a shark. Their jaws are estimated to generate forces 100 times more powerful. We'd go through a few teeth as well if our bite strength topped the scales at 2,800 kilograms per square centimeter. But not even the great white shark could take on the US nuclear submarine fleet and win. The number 1 most extreme biter in the countdown earned its place because back in the 1970s, it forced a nuclear submarine to return to base. Something attacked the layer of neoprene rubber covering the sensitive sonar dome in the bow. Careful study showed that the submarine had been hit by something that removed a perfect plug of rubber, 5 centimeters wide and 6 centimeters deep. It looked like the attacker had just come straight from the kitchen. The plugs in the neoprene rubber looked as though they had been sliced by a cookie cutter. And that's just what happened. For these teeth belong to the most extreme biter in the countdown, the cookie cutter shark. It's number 1 because, for its size, the cookie cutter has the largest teeth of any shark in the sea. But it doesn't normally eat submarines. Nobody's ever filmed what goes on far beneath the waves. But scientists know that the cookie cutter, one of the smallest sharks in the world, hunts the biggest animals on the planet. Whales, not nuclear submarines, are the normal diet of the cookie cutter shark. And that's what makes this biter #1 in the countdown. It feeds by sinking those incredible teeth into the side of a whale and then lifting out a cookie-shaped piece of flesh before the whale, or submarine, knows what hit it. No wonder then, when it comes to biting, the cookie cutter shark really is the most extreme.